Sziasztok mindenkinek, welcome back. Üdvözöljük. I'm here today with two very special guests. My dear friend Alma Wakili Alma, the Apple Man, and Edvin Garibović, aka you might know him as Bustin' Loads on Girls from Instagram, a man of many different monikers. We won't list them all now. How are you folks doing?
Doing great, thanks.
Splendid.
And so, we're gathered here today to discuss various things, what's going on in the world, what's going on in our lives, and to hear a little bit more about both of your stories, because you both have very interesting stories.
All right.
So interesting, in fact, that we're being filmed from many different angles by a film crew, by Ray, by who knows who else is peering through the windows. But let's start with you, Alma. Eddie's been on the program before. Where are you from?
I'm from Nigeria, a country in West Africa. It's a very popular country, so I'm sure most of you already know Nigeria. I'm from Taraba State, in Nigeria.
Long way from Nigeria here in Budapest, huh?
Yep. It's been quite a journey for me.
Quite a journey. And what's the name of your town in Nigeria?
I'm from Jalingo in Taraba State.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Cool. And what about you, Eddie? Where are you from?
I was born in Pula, Croatia.
So we got a Croatian, a Horvat.
Eddie the Horvat, another moniker.
And we got a Nigerian, a Nigeriai Ferfi. Now, Alma, you said you're from Nigeria, from Taraba State. Where is Taraba State? Where is that? What part of Nigeria?
Taraba State is located in the northeastern part of the country. It's not so heavily populated like Lagos or Abuja. It's quite like Jalingo is quite a small town. So I was born in Zing. That's
Zing.
Dude. Every time we pass by Zing Burger, he's like,
They got a whole burger chain dedicated to you here.
Yeah, I took a picture of it and posted it. My friends and family, they're all like, "Oh wow, that's really cool." So Zing is like a smaller town than Jalingo actually. So I was born there, and then we later moved to Jalingo, and then that's where I basically grew up.
And what's your profession? What do you do for a living?
I'm a pro soccer player.
You're a pro foci player, a focista, as they say in Hungary.
Oh, all right.
Focista.
All right, focista.
A focista.
All right.
You're a pro soccer player. What does that mean? You play professional soccer, I guess, but like, where has that journey taken you? I know you've played in some different places in Europe.
Yeah. Well, I started my professional career in Belgium, but it all started for me way back in Nigeria, actually. So most people get surprised when I tell them that I was actually scouted to leave Nigeria by Aspire Academy in Qatar.
Aspire Academy in Qatar.
Yes.
Like the country that's having the World Cup next year.
Yeah, exactly.
QA.
QA.
It's
Is it Qatar or Qatar?
Some people say
Qatar.
Qatar, some people say Qatar. I mean, I would take it from the person that lived there, but...
Yeah, it's Qatar. It's not
Qatar.
Qatar. Yeah, it's Qatar.
Qatar.
Yeah.
So you went to this Aspire Academy.
Yeah.
From Jalingo in Taraba State in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And this Aspire Academy, like, what was it? What was Aspire Academy?
Well, so Aspire Academy had this project called Aspire Football Dreams. So this is a project where they go around, it's like a talent hunt, for soccer players. So back in 2009, they were doing an edition of the Aspire Football Dreams. So what they do is they send scouts over to like different African countries. So if in Nigeria, for example, they send scouts to all the different states in Nigeria.
How many states are there?
36.
36? Is that right, Eddie? 36 in Nigeria?
Yeah, it's 36.
Okay, cool. Just checking.
He knows that?
Yeah, the guys.
He knows everything.
We call
Eddie knows everything.
One of his other names is Eddie the Encyclopedia.
Yeah. So they send scouts to different parts of the country, and then they organize like little matches to see different players. So
and how many people were scouted? Like you said, there's scouts all over the country. Is it like, so in your state there was like a group of players that were scouted in your state?
Yeah. In my state there were only 2 of us that were scouted.
Out of how many?
Out of like 300 players that came out that day.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 2 out of 300, and you were one of them that got scouted.
Exactly.
By this Aspire Academy. And then what happened after that? You went to Qatar?
No, you don't go to Qatar directly. So what happens is they go to like every state, and then they pick like in my state, for example, they pick 2 of us. So maybe, for example, in a nearby state, in Adamawa State, for example, that's another state next to mine. They may pick 1 player or 3, depending how many they see.
So out of the 36 states in Nigeria, there was like several different tryouts, maybe 300 in your place and 500 in the other place, and like 1,000 in Abuja. And then out of all that, how many made it to the next round?
Yeah, 50 make it to the next round. So the next
50 best Nigerians basically made it to the next round.
So the 50 make it to Lagos, where we're gonna have like a 1-week tryouts. So this time we have like other scouts coming, like more qualified scouts. They come in, and then they have like a 1-week camp. So the 1-week camp, we have like running tests, like speed, endurance, jumping, just different aspects of football. So after that week, we're about 50 of us, so they select only 3.
3 out of 50.
Yeah, 3 out of 50.
And you were one.
Yeah,
you were one of 2 out of 200.
Yeah.
And then one of 3 out of 50.
Exactly.
And then you made the academy.
Yeah, and then I went to Qatar, but it's not over yet.
It's not over.
Yeah, so
it's not over, Eddie.
It's not over till the fat lady sings.
Yep. Yeah. So I went to Qatar, and then in Qatar we were about 40 of us. Well, one thing you need to know is, they were doing this process in Nigeria and also like in Cote d'Ivoire, in Senegal, in Kenya, and South Africa, Rwanda, yeah, so other countries. So
these guys went out to find like diamonds in the rough all over Africa.
Exactly.
40 of you from the whole continent made it to Qatar.
To Qatar, yeah. So 40 of us were in Qatar for like a month. So we played matches against like, I think it was Barcelona, the youth teams, of course. Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Stuttgart. I think, yeah.
So the best of the best in the world, basically.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And how old are you, by the way?
I'm 25.
No. Back then.
Back then, I was 14.
So it's like 11 years ago this is happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. This was back in 2010.
2010?
Yeah.
Seems like a lifetime ago. I mean, I guess it kind of was, but...
Yeah.
2010.
Yeah, definitely.
So you're in Qatar versus the best of the best in all of Africa.
Yep.
40 people playing against Stuttgart, playing against Bayern Munich, playing against Barcelona.
Yeah, and mind you, out of that 40, they only wanted to keep 18 of us. So it was like a really, huge competition, I remember going to Aspire, like when I first saw, like you can Google it, like when I first saw Aspire Academy, I was like, there's no way I'm going to leave this place without a contract. I mean, it was amazing. The pitches were amazing. I'd never played on like really good pitches, really good equipment, everything was just new and really nice to me, and ever since I was a little kid, all I ever wanted to be was a pro footballer playing in Europe. And this was like a golden opportunity for me, and I wasn't going to miss it. So we had the trial for 1 month, and then they later told us, okay, everyone has to go back home, and then they're going to give us a call to come back. So we were all just, I went home. I wasn't really sure how things were going to go down, the thing is, I was confident because during the matches, I knew I played well, and I also knew that there was like a first team and a second team. They kind of divided us into 2. So I was pretty much confident, but I wasn't totally sure that I was going to go back. So about 2 weeks later, I got a call from the academy that I'd made it and I was going to go back. I was just going crazy.
I can take a draw to that. Let's drink to that.
For sure.
By the way, if you got any questions for Alma, feel free to ask. This is a quite remarkable story.
I mean, we've been living together for like a month, so we've been.
Oh, you guys live together now, huh?
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll get to, I know that because I set you 2 up like a little matchmaker, but we'll get to that part of the story in just a bit. But so you made this Aspire Academy back in 2010, basically one of the best 14-year-olds in all of Africa.
Yeah.
And that must have been like a remarkable feeling. How did your family react?
Oh, I mean, they were over the moon, of course. Everyone was so happy for me. Because all they knew that like Alma just wants to be a pro footballer. That's all I ever wanted to be. And where I'm from, if you really tell people that you just want to be a professional soccer player, they see like, okay, it's
like it's unrealistic.
Yeah, it's unrealistic. It's not gonna happen. Like we know you're good, but how are you gonna get the opportunity? Yeah. So they were really happy, and I was so happy that I was able to like prove a lot of people wrong also.
Prove the haters wrong.
Yeah. Because I remember lots of people like you take this football so seriously. Like where's it gonna take you? So, but I've been around. So
Nice.
yeah,
So you made it to Aspire Academy as a 14-year-old, and how long did you spend in Qatar?
I was there for 4.5 years.
4.5 years. So
Yep.
until about the time you're 18, and what
Yeah.
what happens then? You get sent off to another place.
Yeah, so Aspire Academy had this partnership with a club called Cas Open in Belgium.
Cast open.
Yeah,
Let's try
yeah.
saying that.
What language is this?
It's German, I think.
Cast open?
Cast open.
Yeah,
What would
yeah.
be Belgian? I
Yeah,
guess?
you know, it's in Belgium, but it's a town. It's really close to Germany, so it's like
Okay.
it's like it has like a German.
Oh, I see.
background.
German heritage.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you made it over to Cast Open.
Yeah, so I had to go for tryouts actually in Cassiopin again. So I think there were 11 of us because our category were 18, like I told you, and then so 11 of us went to Cassiopin for tryouts, and then the coach only picked 6 of us. He was only interested in 6 of us.
Wow. So you've been defying odds for quite a
yeah,
while.
yeah, and that's one thing my dad always reminds me. He's like, you've been through a lot. You've been like overcoming a lot of challenges in your life. So there's nothing I think that you cannot overcome. It's just a matter of time, and you just have to keep pushing.
And
So,
patience.
exactly.
Sounds like a cool guy. What does your dad do for a living? Is he a pro
my dad is
footballer?
my dad is a pastor.
He's a pastor.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
He's
cool.
a pastor, but he's a really huge football fan.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What would your dad think of me? Would he like me? I've got
I got no words.
666 tattooed
No
on
words,
my knee.
And he's the pastor in the Satanic Church.
Yeah.
So Kassoypen, you make it over
Yeah.
there, Belgium. And how long did you stay in Belgium for?
I was in Belgium for a year and a half,
A year and a half?
and then I had to leave because my contract was over after a year and a half, and then I went over to Lithuania, to FK Trakai. So
So as a Nigerian kid from the dusty state of Taraba,
Yep.
you make it to Qatar and then to Belgium and then to
Yep.
Lithuania.
Yeah.
This is already becoming quite an adventurous tale.
it's a wild ride. It's a wild ride.
And then
So-
what after Lithuania? Ukraine?
No, after Lithuania, then I went to Macedonia,
Okay.
and then to
What was Macedonia like?
well, the thing is, my transfer from Lithuania for FK Trakai to Macedonia was a bit rocky, you know, with the agents and stuff. So it wasn't really smooth. So even while I was there, things didn't really go as expected, you know, because the agent I was with wasn't really the best, I should say. So yeah, so it was pretty much rocky.
But how'd you like the country? They speak my language there.
Yeah, I know. The country is pretty nice. I mean, it has like, you know, the Balkans have like beautiful views and stuff. Yeah, so it's really nice. But I was really more interested in the football aspect, and it didn't really
Makes
go
sense.
too well. So yeah, so I don't really have like
Nice things to
nice,
say about it.
yeah, nice memories of it. But
Where do
it
you
is
have the
what it is.
nicest memories? Besides, obviously, Budapest.
Yeah, like yeah, of course I like Budapest. I liked Belgium a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, because even when I left from Qatar to Belgium, I already had other Aspire players that were in Belgium, so it's easy for me to just adapt and stay there. Because I had people I knew in the
And by the
team
way,
already.
what level are you playing at this whole time? Is it like the top divisions of these countries?
In Belgium, I played second division, but Eupen right now play in the Premier League.
In the Jupiler Liga? Jupiler, whatever they call it?
Jupiler Pro League.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but back then it was called the Proximus League, so that was the second division. But in Lithuania, I played in their Premier League, and we did pretty good actually because we played in the Europa League.
Europa League?
Yeah, Europa League qualifiers.
So that's like the level below Champions League.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's I mean,
Yeah.
that's like one of the best competitions in all of
Yeah,
Europe.
I played some really important matches, and it was really good, and that's how I got to make the transfer to Macedonia. But it's just unfortunate that it didn't really go as smooth as I wanted it to.
Right.
go. Yeah.
But what happened after Macedonia? Where did you
So
go next?
yeah, I went to Albania for a little bit, and then after I just went home. And
Back to Nigeria.
Back to
'Cause
Nigeria.
don't you have to go there like often?
Yeah, I ever since I was in Qatar, like when I was in Qatar, I used to go home twice a year, and after I signed pro, I used to go back home once a year. So I went back home, and then I was without a club for a while, a few months, and then an agent from Ukraine just randomly messaged me, and he was like, I watched your videos on Y Scout, and I see that you're a good player. So
What's Y Scout?
That's what agents use to.
Oh, so it's like a database.
Yeah,
And so he's
database
seen
to
some
scout,
footage
to scout players. Yeah,
from you in
yeah.
Lithuania, in Macedonia,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Albania,
Yeah,
in
previous
Belgium.
clubs, exactly,
And he's
exactly.
like, okay, let's bring this guy over to Ukraine.
Exactly. Yeah. So he messaged me on Facebook, and he asked for my number. So I gave him my number, and we had a quick conversation. And he was like, "How am I doing? Do I want to come to Ukraine?" So I told him I've never been to Ukraine before, but I know of Shakhtar and Dynamo Kyiv, the big teams.
Shakhtar Donetsk.
Yeah, Shakhtar Donetsk. Yeah. So he was like, "Yeah, I can organize the tryouts for you, and you can come, and we'll take it from there." So he sent me an invitation, and that's how I went to Ukraine. So when I went to Ukraine, I made the tryouts, and I had to go back to Nigeria because the visa I initially went to Ukraine with was a visiting visa, so you couldn't really sign a contract with that. So I went back to Nigeria, and then 2020 in January, I went back to Ukraine. And then you know what happened next? COVID. Yeah. So
Bad timing.
Yeah, it was really bad timing. And right when we're about to start, COVID hit, and then everything shut down, of course. And I had just a 3-month visa, which got expired. So then I had to, after the lockdown ended, I had to go back to Nigeria. And the thing about Nigeria is that things are not really straightforward. I had to go back to Nigeria to get a new visa so that I could come back to Ukraine. But like here in Europe, if you want to get a visa and go somewhere, it's pretty straightforward. You go to the embassy and they tell you what to do, and you get your visa, right? But in Nigeria, it's
like the bureaucracy.
It's a chaos, bro. Yeah. It's total chaos. So I took longer than expected to get the visa, but then I eventually got the visa, and then went back to Ukraine 2021. And right when we're about to start the season,
Putin
the war.
invades.
Yeah.
Wait, but that would be 2022 is when the war started.
Yeah. So I was at home pretty much throughout 2020, like 6 months in 2021.
I see.
Yeah.
So you get back to Ukraine. You're on a club. Where is this club? What part of Ukraine?
It was in Kyiv.
In Kyiv,
Lubomir
in the
Kyiv.
capital.
Exactly.
And so you're
It was in
just
Kyiv.
about to hit the ground. COVID's over. Getting ready to hit the ground running.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the war comes in.
And the war comes in.
So that's, I think, something that everyone can relate to right now, or not relate to, but at least that's something that's very visceral. Okay, the war starts. Everyone else around the world is sort of panicking. What's going on? Are they going to drop bombs? Are they going to drop nukes? This is crazy.
Yeah.
But you're literally in Kyiv. And were you in Kyiv when the war broke out?
Luckily, no, I wasn't in Kyiv. We left Kyiv 3 days before. I think 3 or 4 days before the war broke out. We went to the western region. I think Zakarpattia region. That's the name of the region.
The Hungarians call it Carpatalia.
Okay, all right.
But it's because there's actually a lot of Hungarians that live there. And it's historically been, in the past, part of the Hungarian kingdom. And anyway, it has a very mixed Hungarian-Ukrainian heritage. So you're there in the West, where it's relatively safe. I mean, nowhere is completely safe in Ukraine, but that part of the country is safer. And how long are you there for? I think the war broke out February 22nd, so you must have gone over like February 19th or so.
Yeah, about that.
And then you're there for how long?
We're there for, I think, 2 weeks. Yeah.
And what's going on in your head right now? You must, for me, being next to Ukraine, it was kind of crazy enough, but being inside the country must have been a while.
Yeah, it was crazy because they were just shooting missiles from planes. I'm like, and then they kept saying like, oh, we're safe where we are. I'm like, but what if they just decide, okay, we're going to leave Kyiv and come to the West and just drop a missile? You never know. So I was really panicking. And then I saw some of my teammates, just crying, calling like their parents.
And your teammates, where are they from?
They're mostly Ukrainian. We were 2 foreigners in the team.
Oh wow! So it's a mostly Ukrainian team.
Mostly
so
Ukrainian
they all
team.
had to stay, like most of them.
Yeah, they all had to stay. Yeah, except I think one. He was 17, so
he
could
got
leave.
didn't you say it was his birthday? Very soon.
Yeah. So he had to leave like really like quick.
Because of course in Ukraine right now, if you're between the ages of like 18 and I think 65, you have to stay in the country.
Yeah, definitely.
So you want some water?
Yeah.
So you're in the western part of Ukraine for a week or two. The war's breaking out. It's like probably feels to you like it's like end of times shit going on right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And what happens next? What do you do?
And you just kept feeling like, things just kept happening that I couldn't control. Like with COVID, and then trying to get like my career back on track, and then the war. And I was just like what's really
can't
happening?
catch a
You know?
break.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, you know, what's happening? And my agent was just telling me that probably now that the war, you know, it's ongoing, so the president of the club is just gonna, you know, just break everyone's contract, and you just have to find your way, you know, go to Romania or go back to Nigeria, or just choose anywhere you want to go, but just leave Ukraine. So I decided that I was gonna come to Hungary because I have a friend here who plays for
Famous
Fehérvár.
Funcho?
Yeah, Funcho.
Funcho, he plays football in Hungary.
Yeah, he plays for Fehérvár.
Vidi FC, and Székesfehérvár. Can you say Székesfehérvár?
Székesfehérvár.
Oh, very good.
Székesfehérvár.
Okay. Not like Alma, but you know, pretty good also. So your buddy Funcho, he's a Nigerian guy?
Yes, he's a Nigerian guy. He went to Aspire Academy also, by the way.
So he also was one of the people selected to play in Qatar.
Yes.
And you met him there, and now he plays pro football at Vidi in Hungary, which is actually historically one of the best teams in the country.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's why you thought, okay, let's go to Hungary versus Poland or Romania or Slovakia.
Exactly.
Okay.
And still, I wasn't really sure how things were gonna happen. So I just, you know, I believe in God, and I just pray that, you know, God just make me. You know, let me just meet the right people, and I hope everything will go well.
He delivered.
And, yep.
Well, just from this is where I kind of come into this story, because I'm, you know, going out to the border at it's Beregsoran. Yeah. Because Alexa and I, we rented a car, and we started asking for donations, and then I wake up the next day with like $6,000 in my Venmo account. Which soon grew to over $30,000 just in a week. It was crazy. It was like, I've never seen anything like that in my life. So, but this is right at the beginning, and we go to Beregsoran, and we don't know really how to help yet. We don't know how to spend the money, but we're like, let's just rent the car and see what happens. So we get there.
And that was your first day?
That was our first trip, yeah. We get there, and we're waiting for a while because it was chaos there. I mean, the people were trying their hardest. They call them the red coats, and they're at the border. They're filtering people through. There's a whole room with like tons of refugees sprawled out on mattresses, and then they basically ask you as a volunteer to supply your details, and you say like where you're going, and how many people you can fit in your car. On like a little slip of paper. I mean, nothing's computerized. It's just kind of chaos. And then they have other slips of paper from the refugees. Oh, family of 3 going to Budapest. Let's match them up. But that happens about like 6 different times. And we're just waiting there for like 3 hours. One slip of paper. Oh, sorry, we lost the family. They already left. Another slip of paper. Oh, sorry, we lost the family. They already left. So we're like, okay, you know, we got to wait. You know, we're here to help. But it's getting like a little ridiculous. Finally, they find a group of 9, I think, and we had 2 other guys that had cars going back to Budapest. And so they said, let's put 3 people in this car, 3 people in this car, and 2 people in this car. Yeah, maybe it was originally a group of 8. So we're waiting, they're trying to get their stuff together, they have their whole lives on their back, and then all of a sudden I see this guy who, to be honest with you, he doesn't really look Ukrainian to me. So
was he the only like black guy in the whole place?
I was the only black guy.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's
I didn't see any other black person, man.
It was kind of like, what's this guy doing here? So I went over to him. I'm like, do you need help speaking English with anyone?
Yeah.
Or rather speaking Hungarian? And so he's just like, yo, what's up? And he's dressed in football gear. Like I knew right away, this guy plays football. This guy plays soccer. I mean, I've played my whole life, and you can just identify those types of people. And so he's like, yeah, sure. So I bring him over to the tent thinking that he needs to get registered. And then we would just part ways, and I helped him out or whatever. But then at the tent, they're like, oh, no, he's all right. If you want to take him, just take him. So he gets into the car with us with 2 other...
Yeah, the lady and her son.
The lady and her son.
I can't remember his name.
Oh, yeah, and we got him the race car.
We got him the toy car, yeah.
The toy car.
Yeah, he was so happy. I remember, yeah.
That was great. And we're caravanning back to Budapest. We dropped the family off at the train station, and you tell me... I'm going to Székesfehérvár, right?
Yeah.
And that was to meet Funcho?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was the plan.
And it was like 1 a.m, so I'm like, look it up. I think there was 1 train actually, but I'm like, you know what, just come back to Leonfalu, rest for a day, and then we can take you out to Funcho to Székesfehérvár. And so you do that, but then you liked Leonfalu quite a bit, right? It was pretty nice.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. Yeah, it was really good.
So you ended up staying.
I liked it there, yeah.
You ended up staying an extra day. Alexa's making some nice breakfast, all this stuff.
It was really good.
And then Eddie, this is when you come into the picture because we were going to go to Székesfehérvár, but first we found some agent that said he was going to help you try to find a club in Budapest.
Here. Yeah.
And he was in Hatvan, I think, which is in the complete other direction from Székesfehérvár. And
what is Hatvan, like 60?
Exactly 60 kilometers from Budapest.
Yeah.
It's like the most obvious name ever, Hatvan. It's like an English town being called 60. So then we say to you, Eddie, because you were bored that day or something, bumming around the park.
Yeah, I was like
Skateboarding.
skating around Margaret Island.
And we said, why don't you come along with us? And so then myself, Alma, and you drive out to Hatvan to meet this agent in like a small little cafe in the middle of this small Hungarian town. And then we drive to Székesfehérvár to drop Alma off at famous Funcho's house.
Right. And we got to meet famous Funcho.
Yeah.
What were your first impressions when you saw Alma or when you met him?
I was like, this guy's cool. We can hang out.
And
He seemed genuine and nice.
What were your first impressions when you met Eddie?
Nah, he looked cool. I mean, he was skateboarding and he had his pink hoodie on. I was like, yeah, but I was like, what's with the pink hoodie? But now
Pink's not cool in Nigeria?
Nah.
usually, I mean, a guy in a pink hoodie.
Sus.
So we're like the Bad News Bears heading out to Hatvan. We meet up with his agent. He says he's going to get you a trial somewhere. We drive down to Székesfehérvár, drop you off. And then what happened after that?
I was at Funch's place for a while, and then you gave me a call that Zoltan called you, the agent.
Zoltan's the agent, right.
And he gave you a call that I could. He got a trial for me at Újpest.
Újpest.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one of the biggest teams in Hungary, actually.
Yeah,
the Lila, the purple. But the tryout, they didn't really ever give you like a proper tryout, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because I was just having a few training sessions with the Team B, and then that was basically it. Yeah.
Because right now, for everyone who's listening and who's going to listen in the future, I have a feeling that this is going to be a very watched episode of this podcast. And our goal right now is to get Alma a team. And so it's very difficult because it's the end of the season. So if you're just thinking from like the perspective of a club, like they're not going to sign a new player when there's only 4 games left in the season.
Exactly.
So Újpest was the first opportunity, and they kind of gave him like a half-hearted chance. It was nice enough that they took him for a few training sessions, but it wasn't really the type of proper tryout that we'd hope to get in the summer.
Exactly.
Because that's ordinarily the time. I don't know if you know, but with football clubs.
Yeah, he was telling me.
Yeah.
Like June is around the time.
Yeah.
June, July.
Is usually summer or winter. It's like the December period, December, January. That's when teams look for players, and also June, July.
July.
Next month.
Yeah, exactly. So.
But February, end of February, March, when you got here, is probably the single worst time that you could look for a club.
Yeah, exactly.
Because as remarkable as your stories is, these clubs aren't charities, and they're not really like looking to take you on because you have an interesting story.
Exactly.
They want something that can help them. And as much as you might be able to help a club in the summer when their eyes might light up, wow, here's a guy that just fell into our lap that is remarkably talented. In the spring, they're worried about, winning games and all this stuff. And the actual mechanism to sign players isn't that easy in the spring as well.
Yeah, definitely.
But that being said, that brings you and Eddie back together again, because when you said you were coming back for this trial at Újpest, it wouldn't make any sense for you to live in Leonfalu where we live, because the public transport's awful and it just would be impossible to get the training. So that's when Eddie, you were kind enough to offer your beautiful duplex apartment to...
Yeah, I mean, me and my lady broke up and she moved out, so now I'm left with this huge apartment by myself.
Sorry for laughing.
Luxury penthouse.
Thanks for laughing at me. But yeah, I'm like, I don't need this much space, and I was feeling like a bit down, and I was like, man, I want to help people. So you're doing this work with Ukrainian people, and I was like, man, let me know how I can help. And you were like, well, guess what? You could help Alma out.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really kind of him, and we're having a good time. So
I try not to be too much of a bad influence on him. Every time he leaves, like he goes to
Székesfehérvár,
like to hang out with Funcho and stuff. And every time he leaves, I go off the rails. Like, I'm trying to be like better and sober and stuff, and I do it all week perfect until he leaves.
So I told him I wasn't gonna leave. He's like, "Why are you not gonna leave?" I'm like, "Bro, you know why."
So you basically replaced your wife of 11 years with Alma.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, kinda.
That's nice.
Kinda. Not in every way, but yeah.
Yeah, set the record straight.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Popping open another
Shoproni.
bevy there.
Yeah, buddy.
So how long you guys been living together now?
It's been like a month.
A month only?
More than a month?
Seems like a year, bro.
Yeah. I feel like we've known
I
each
feel like
other
I've known you
our
for
whole
long.
lives.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And what do you guys do? Like you just hang around
Different
the house?
things, like go to the gym.
Yeah, we work out. I went running with him the other day.
Is he fast?
He's so fast, bro. And like, I could barely do one lap, and I'm still sore. That was like 3 days ago, and he does like 2 laps without stopping.
And you were born in Croatia. And from conversations that we've had in the past, I know that you as a child were also a war refugee, no?
Yeah, my parents brought me and my sisters to America during the conflict in Bosnia and like Yugoslavia. It was actually like right afterward, but they were like trying to sneak their way. Like let's just say, my dad said we're all Bosnian from Bosnia because there was still stuff going on there. And that later turned out to be bad because then they couldn't decide like, are we gonna apply as like from a Croatian person or a Bosnian person? So then they never applied for anything.
All right.
And we were just left with like no status. We were just like resident aliens and didn't really have any like legal status to be in America.
Yeah, well, I did my undergraduate dissertation or thesis, whatever they call it, about the Yugoslav conflict. So I know about how complex and crazy identity is there. Do you see any similarities between the Ukraine war and the Bosnian war?
Yeah, I mean, it's like they're pretty much like brothers, cousins, and like people who have a long history together killing each other. So it's very similar to the Yugoslavia conflict.
Yeah, and so then you had this illegal resident status for a while in America. That's where you grew up, basically?
Yeah, I grew up there from like 6 to 24.
We actually discussed this on a previous podcast with Eddie, some of the stories about you living in Arizona, 6 to 24, and then why did you have to move to Budapest, or why did you move to Budapest?
Well, I had to leave America because I kept getting arrested for like petty things. And
some of the stories are funny, man.
I got away with it so many times, and then after like the 50th time going to jail, they're like, "Oh my God, you have this long rap sheet. You're not even a legal resident, like immigration jail right now." And then I mean, I could have stayed and fought my case, but it would have took a long time, and I just wanted to get out of there. So I went back to Croatia
with your ex-wife.
Yeah.
I mean, like when you look at him now, it's hard to believe that he went through all that stuff. You know, it's just hard to imagine.
Do you feel a sense of comfort being with someone who's also been through a pretty
I mean, like when
remarkable-
we've been having like a lot of conversations, and sometimes like when he tells me his story and his struggle, and I see how he's doing now, like he's much better than he was back then.
Except when you go to Székesfehérvár.
Yeah. It gives me like a perspective that, you know, things will get better.
Things can work out, yeah. And
exactly.
actually, it's these kinds of like struggles and hardships that force you to become a better person, which then makes your life better in the end.
Yep.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Hey, cheers to that.
Cheers to that. I just finished my beer.
Oh, sorry.
Come on.
You got another one.
Too late.
You can't cheers with orange juice.
This guy loves orange juice. He gets so mad when I drink it.
We got to keep Alma healthy for the tryouts.
No beer.
So that's pretty crazy that we have someone who was a war refugee back as a child, someone who's a war refugee now. And I guess it's interesting because people don't really think of, I think, either of you as refugees. And that's one of the themes that's really been hammered home to me the most through this whole Ukraine experience and working with some of the refugees and helping people out, is that a refugee, oftentimes in the West, I think we think of it as someone who's like super poor or disadvantaged, or
Yeah.
they're like maybe even like if your image of a refugee, you think like dirty, dusty clothes.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
there certainly is that. I mean, there are plenty of people that are in really desperate circumstances. But a war, a conflict like this, it affects everyone. It affects everyone from all aspects of life, no matter how much money you have, no matter how lucky you may have been in your life, or you're just, a normal person that's neither lucky or unlucky. You're just living your life, and you are immediately affected by the catastrophe of warfare. And
Exactly.
so it's really interesting just how many repercussions there are to the story of a war, including Ukrainians, including people that were living in Ukraine that
Yeah.
are potentially Nigerian or from who knows where.
Exactly.
And is that something that you feel like an identity of as a refugee now? Do you feel that as part of your identity?
Yeah, I mean, like even like for example, before now, like you said, when I think about a refugee, I think about someone who's just I don't know, like dirty and like extremely poor.
Like
But
just
then-
fleed a war and they're like
exactly.
have cuts on them
Yeah,
from shrapnel.
yeah, exactly. So when I later realized, like when I met you, and then you were helping me to come to Budapest, and I thought to myself, okay, right now, I actually am a refugee, and I do need help. And the thing is, even if I don't look it, it's not like I look like, I don't know, like I had torn clothes or something, it's not, how do I explain it? That's not what a refugee is. It just changed my perspective of what a refugee is. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
And how are you doing?
How you doing?
How you doing?
Do you copy that from Joey from Friends? Because you sound just like
He copied
him.
me.
He copied you? Okay,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
he said it first.
Yeah. No, I was like a little baby when that show came out. How you doing?
That's how you came out the
Yeah.
room?
How you doing, Mom?
His thing is, all right.
All right.
Like,
All right.
Like Dazed and Confused.
Oh yeah, Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey,
Yeah,
or
all
any
right,
movie.
How do you say his
with,
surname?
You try, wait, I want to hear him.
How do you say his surname?
You try to say it.
I don't know, Mahogany.
Mahogany?
What's like? I like the actor, but
That is a word.
I can't say his surname.
Matthew McConaughey.
McConaughey.
Yeah.
McConaughey.
Matty Mahogany.
Yeah, and I just call him Matthew. Just call him Matthew.
You guys are tight like that? It's just Maddie.
I just call him Matthew.
What's the craziest story that Eddie's told you?
Ooh. Yeah, he told me something about like shoplifting when he was like back in the States.
Yeah, that's what did me in. That's
Yeah,
why I had to come back to Europe. The shoplifting.
And then there was like a glass door.
What did you shoplift?
Alcohol.
What kind of alcohol?
Mostly beer.
Mostly beer?
Sometimes like bottles of liquor, that like the biggest ones possible.
Oh, cool. We got Wakili Albert watching
All right.
the show right now.
That's my brother.
Your
That's
bro?
you.
Shout out to Albert.
Albert wrote me a very nice email
Yeah.
about saying thank you for helping
Yeah.
Alma out. I was like, thank you for giving us Alma. He's been a very
He's been a blessing for
blessing
me, man.
in all of
I
our
swear.
lives. Really? You think
Yeah,
so?
like you said, originally we thought I was helping Alma out, but actually he helped me out a lot.
That's cute.
Nah, it's mutual, man. It's mutual.
Yeah.
That's cute.
It's mutual.
So back when the days when you were shoplifting, you never thought that you'd end up in Budapest with a documentary film crew and
Nigerian Ukrainian refugee.
Nigerian Ukrainian professional soccer player refugee
Yeah.
living in. It's funny how life works out.
Yeah, honestly.
You never know what's gonna happen.
Yep. You never know. And the thing is, you know when they say like everything, works together for good in the end. I mean, if I'm not saying war is a good thing, but I mean, if this war never happened, I wouldn't have met you guys, and you guys are really good people. Honestly, like you are. Like before, like when I told my dad that you were, because he tried to ask me, like, what kind of person are you? Are you like, do you work like with the church? Are you a missionary? Like, because I told him like you were so nice and all of that, and then I told him no, actually, you just have like. How do I call it?
Compassion.
Way too much free time.
No, you just you have like a charity program that you are like running, and you helping me out. He's like, oh really? Like he never knew that there were people like that. He just thought if you are so kind to people, you have to like be connected to a church or something like that. I told him no, actually.
Well, it's funny. I don't even, I'm not really running a charity program. We just asked for some donations and it sort of spiraled into that.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
And then we went away for a wedding for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So the momentum kind of slowed down. But the problems, one thing that we're trying to do now with this podcast, and we're going to have another group on Saturday, which is my friend Sam, and he's an American, and he's doing some remarkable work with these two girls. You met them, Lisa and Yulia, the singers.
Oh, the singers.
The singers, right? And so these people that I've met through this process over the past month, I mean, there's countless stories, countless people, and not all of them are still in Budapest, but I'm trying to have you guys and then Lisa and Sam and Yulia, and then next week, hopefully getting this girl Anastasia to come on. So trying to like reinforce some of these initial contexts that we've made. Because my philosophy, at least, is like, you really can't help everyone, but the people that you do help, you shouldn't just offer a temporary Band-Aid. You should try to continue to help as much as possible. And I think that that's a good philosophy towards these sort of lingering, long-lasting conflicts, because if we all do our part to help out a few people over a long period of time, then, I think it will always come back to you in the end, and you'll get rewarded. Not that it's a good question, actually, whether altruism is an inherently selfish thing.
It could be, because like when you help others, when you serve others, it really helps you too, like a ton. It's like the best thing you can do for yourself as well.
But that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I think the definition of the word selfish is thought of as sort of like a bad thing, but it doesn't necessarily need to be bad. I mean, I think if we're all selfish in a way that manifests a greater good, that would be great. Yeah. Selfish needs a little bit of a makeover, maybe.
Well, goes around, comes back around.
But do you think that altruism or charity, do you think it's a selfish task?
No, not at all, really. No. Why would it be selfish?
You feel better?
Well, I don't think it's negative.
No,
it's not negative at all. Exactly. So
I guess the way that I mean selfish in that, like, you do it for
recognition.
Maybe not even recognition. Like a lot of people, I think they do silent, or they, I happen to have a platform.
So can like being selfish can it be like a positive thing? Being selfish?
Yeah, I think so. I think that was maybe the point.
Because I've always seen like selfish as like a negative thing. When you use the word selfish.
Marco just chatted in, Alma the savior. Marco, because now what's your status? You're playing with Marco's team.
Yeah. So right now, I have to, like, before I can get a team, I have to wait till summer. So right now, what I basically do is I train with Marco's team. It's a team in the 4th division here. So I train with them 3 to 4 times a week, just to stay fit. And I also run a lot on the Margaret Island. I also go to the gym. Yeah, I can't say that. And then I go to the gym also with Eddie. So
I try to tell him to lift, but he's always doing like
cardio and stuff.
So at the border, when we met at Bergshuran, they gave you this slip of paper. And how long did it allow you to stay in the country?
It was initially for a month, yeah?
A month, I think.
Yeah,
right.
It was initially for a month.
And then we got in touch with someone at the Helsinki conference, Helsinki, the capital of Finland.
Yeah.
But they have some organization, I think, like the Helsinki something, human rights. And I got in touch with this woman, Melinda, and she was kind enough.
To
really kind of like an angel, Melinda.
Very.
And
like God just sent lots of angels to me, really.
But she helped you out to get, an extension to that status?
Yeah, so I got an extension of 2 months.
2 months.
To that status.
So when does that expire?
It'll expire at the end of May 31st.
May 31st.
Yes.
And does that allow you to work?
No. At the moment, no. So I have to find a way to stay here for a longer period of time so that I can get
so you can get a contract.
A club, exactly.
Because that's your profession. It's, people think like, pro athlete, it's just like a fun thing, but it's not. It is a fun thing. I mean, I'm sure it's a dream.
It's my livelihood.
It's your livelihood.
Exactly.
It's how you eat. It's
exactly.
how you. And also, you mentioned to me that that's how you help support your family back home as well.
Yeah, and I'm the breadwinner of my family, so like my family heavily relies on me.
How many people are in your family?
I've got 3 brothers and a sister.
3 brothers and a sister.
Yeah.
That's a big family.
Yeah.
And right now you are without a contract, and we're trying to get you a new contract.
Exactly.
And I'm sure you would love to just do some temporary part-time job while you were waiting just to make some cash.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can't even do that.
I can't even do that. So
that's why I would like to ask, hello, everyone in the audience. I was just making sure I was. I heard a background noise. I would like to make sure I ask everyone in the audience. We're going to be starting a GoFundMe page specifically to help out Alma. I know he would never ask for help, but I feel like as I was talking about this mission of trying to reinforce the help that we've offered to others, is while he's in pursuit of this contract in this sort of like vague area, if we could try to collectively come together and raise some money via GoFundMe. Because GoFundMe, I've never had experience with it, but I know that it helps causes like this all the time, where someone just needs a temporary lift up or a temporary pat on the back. And how rewarding would that be to see Alma like 4 months from now get a contract with the Hungarian team and really be able to push on and have like a tremendous professional career. I think we could look back at all this one day as being like a real crossroads in your life and my life. And it would be nice to do like a reunion episode in
a few months.
That would be so amazing. That would be so amazing.
That would be so amazing. Because I mean, I think it seems to me like with your story, with this incredible mission as a 14-year-old kid coming through, really like the odds that you told me. I mean, 2 out of 200, and then 3 out of
the 50,
and then 2 out of
18 out of
18
40.
out of 40, and then all these numbers. But if you actually like sit down and do the math, and I'm the furthest thing from a mathematician, that's probably like 1 in a fucking million.
Yeah.
So I mean, you've beat the odds before. I think that we can certainly try to do it again.
Yes, definitely. You sound like my dad. My dad keeps reminding me about this almost every day. He just keeps telling me that, you can overcome this. Just take it, a step at a time, and everything will be okay.
Yeah, I see it happening for you, man.
Thanks,
see it,
bro. Thanks, bro.
We have a bright future, all of us.
Cool. Yeah, we're gonna get through this, and I mean, honestly, like, and part of you must feel kind of lucky because like there's obviously much more desperate situations than you right now, coming from the war zone and stuff.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I even had some like friends over in Ukraine who fled Ukraine, of course, and their conditions were like much worse than mine when they left, because they went through the Polish border, and they had to spend I spent like 4 hours at the border, and I was complaining like it was so cold, and they were like, we were at the border for 4 days, man.
I mean,
no food, and I was like, okay guys, I get it.
You say it was cold. I mean,
it was freezing.
I'm like a volcano,
freezing.
so I don't really feel the temperatures like normal people,
Yeah?
but it wasn't that cold. I think coming from Nigeria, you've got a different perspective on temperature.
Yeah, for me it was cold.
Yeah.
It was cold. I was like shaking,
We both come from like very similar climates.
Really?
Yeah.
Pool is hot?
No, Arizona.
Oh, Arizona. Yeah. Eddie's from the desert.
We were trying to compete with like where it gets hotter.
Yeah, but
I think Phoenix wins, right?
Did you
yeah,
feel
maybe because that's like a desert.
50
man.
degrees
That's like a
Celsius.
desert.
Did you feel like a
Yeah.
refugee a second time when you had to leave Phoenix?
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird adjusting to living in Croatia after living in the States for so long. And
Would you
just-
want to live in the States again one day, or do you have like kind of bitter feelings towards that?
I'm not bitter, but I feel like I had my time there, and it's just like a different culture, different kinds of people, and I prefer Europe more.
Why is that? Just the attitude, the lifestyle?
Yeah, the lifestyle. It's more chill and easygoing, less of a rat race.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're all, I'm not really I'm not at all a refugee, but we're all expats. We're all expats.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the identities. We talk about identity before with the Yugoslav war. We talk about identity with the Ukrainian war. But we all have these different identities in our lives. And one identity that we mentioned before with you guys is refugee, but even probably above refugee, because that's sort of like, you were a child and you aren't a native to Ukraine. So maybe this is sort of like a malleable thing. But even more than a refugee, I think we're all expats. And that's sort of...
I identify with that much more than refugee.
Than refugee, yeah. I think being an expat is an interesting concept in and of itself. I mean, it's very positive in a lot of ways. There's certain things that, you miss family, maybe you miss old friends.
That's the tough part.
That's the toughest part, right, is the family.
The family, yeah.
I mean, friends, I love my friends, but I still see my friends. And as you get older, you see friends on occasion, and the occasions are great, but you also make new friends. Like, I didn't know you guys before 4 years ago, and now we're all close friends. So,
but also you visit your family all the time.
Yeah, right. You can't even go
you
back.
don't.
Yeah, and they can't visit me either because they don't have passports to come out here.
Oh shit.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so it's been like 7 years I haven't seen my mom or my sisters or my dad.
Wow.
So like none of your family members In 7 years, you haven't seen any of your family members?
Nope.
That's tough.
Yeah, it's tough.
Can you go back to America?
Yeah,
He talks to his mom like almost every day on video.
Yeah,
Aw.
I see my mom on Facebook Messenger video all the time. She's very cool and supportive. But yeah, I can go back. I can go and get a fucking like tourist visa and just go visit.
So you're allowed to. Your shoplifting doesn't prevent
Man,
you
you
from
should.
doing it.
No, it doesn't prevent me. I could have done that a long time ago. I was always putting it off.
You got to do it for the wedding in September.
Yeah, I know. I have to do it I want to go to my own like film festival premieres, which are going to be in the States.
Just the way that you said that.
But it'd be so
I wanna
nice
go to
to
my own film festival premieres.
I don't want to miss that.
So you're going to be in a film festival?
I guess, right, Gabor? Yeah.
He's not allowed to interact with the talent. It breaks the ethical guidelines.
Oh.
So you got a film coming out about. Are you allowed to talk about that at all?
Yeah, it's a documentary about our lives, me and my ex, and just us like moving from Croatia to Budapest and like trying to start a business here and like our lives here basically.
What kind of business?
Webcamming.
Webcamming.
Yeah.
Do you know what webcamming is now, Alma?
Not really. Not like well, not like in
He
detail. but
lives in our old room where we used it as our webcam room. Now he's living in it.
Webcamming. That's like, for the layman's term, would be like a sex show.
Yeah, like a live sex show.
Wow, very interesting. A pastor's son. You've come a long way. Well, you're certainly gonna have a lot of stories to tell one day, Alma. Have you ever thought about like trying to record any of this, like put it down on paper, or is that something that you think you'll do later on? when
yeah,
you're-
I'll do that later on, of course.
We could record something now.
But I like I do write some notes, like some key dates and stuff like that on my phone. So I want to write a book someday, like about my life.
Memoir?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, something like a memoir.
Alma Wakili,
Yep.
the story of
I don't know what the title will be, but I'm still
Appleman.
thinking about that.
the story of an apple that fell far from the tree. Yeah, I mean, your story certainly has resonated with me quite a bit. I mean, your story's crazy, but like
You're crazy.
we've been, I mean, in a good way crazy. I don't think it's bad. I think it's awesome. It's very interesting. But it's something that I've grown used to over the years that I've known you. But Alma's story right now is just really resonant with me from an emotional level, and I think that it would just be really, really tremendous if we can try to push you over the line. I mean, I think that you're going to do it yourself. And even that's what I always wonder, like if you didn't meet me, or you didn't meet Eddie, or you didn't meet all these people, I feel like you would have made it work. It just would have been a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, definitely.
Less fun, probably.
Yeah, because I just would have been in. The plan was just to go to Fehérvár. I didn't know how far Fehérvár was from Budapest. I knew nothing about Hungary, so I just wanted to go meet Funsho, and then we'll just take it from there.
And now you're here,
And now I'm here. Yep, exactly. I'm here.
doing a podcast, telling your tale.
Yep.
I remember the first like week he was there, I was like getting over my breakup and just having parties all the time. And then I'm like, fuck, like here's Alma just trying to be a good boy, like a professional athlete, and there's people
there
just
you are.
doing lines of blow on the counter and like
Oh my God.
Man.
It's a crazy world.
he puts up with a lot for me.
Yeah, it's all right, man.
But your apartment's so goddamn.
It's a huge, it's a huge place, and
I mean-
so I have my space, you know.
That's true.
all
You
right.
can always retreat when it
Yep.
gets too crazy.
Yep.
All right. Well, is there any final words that either of you would like to say before we wrap it up for the day? Do you have any message to like Hungary, like as a country? To your new home? Do you have any message to the Hungarians out there in the audience that might
Say
be
it in
watching?
Hungarian.
No, I know nothing of Hungarian. I
What-
only know Kushinam. Kushinam, yeah.
What about the one I
Thank you.
taught you?
I forgot that, man.
Kusi Sepan.
Yeah, Kusi Sepen. That's like
There you
thank
go.
you very much, yeah.
Kusi
Thank you.
Is that what you want to say to the
Yeah,
Hungarians?
Kusi Sepen. Yeah.
Nekadish. Oh no, that's Sivashan.
Which one's that? Sivashan? What does that mean?
That's what we say to you.
Oh, okay.
One final cheers here to
All right, I'm gonna do mine with it.
To the apple that fell far from the
the apple
tree.
that fell far from the tree,
All right.
Eddie the Horvat, and to the Ukrainians continuing to just be miraculous and get through this tough time and inspiring us all. and to peaceful and blissful times ahead this summer for everyone in the world, even those in Russia, except for a few of them. No, not that's for a debate. But I just hope that we can get through this as a global society and come out the other end stronger. And that's all I got to say. So thanks for watching. Look out for Alma's GoFundMe page. We're going to be setting that up real soon. And I really hope that people will be inspired to contribute and to help out. I've got a few other things that I'd like to help out with the Ukrainian cause more directly. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for Eddie's documentary and the film festival premieres that he's got to get to in America.
This fall.
Coming soon this fall.
Yep. Thank you, everybody, in advance.
Thank you in advance. Thank you retroactively. God bless. Kusanom Sepen.
Chokolom.
And we'll see you soon. We got another episode of With Willie podcast coming this Saturday, special edition. So stay tuned for that. Have a nice day. Safe in the pot.
Safe in the pot.
All right. All right.